Rev up your engines!
Well, I was just reading an article. American gas prices could plunge below $3 a gallon, right? Well, I hate to break the bubble on these people, but it already is here. The other day, I just went by a station, it was $2.46 a gallon. So it is below here in Tennessee. Now, what they're talking about, of course, is the national average. And really, it's already almost there. The national average as of 2 days ago, Sunday, was $3.03 a gallon. So the price is going down. There's all kinds of reasoning behind it. And of course, who really knows? Because they sometimes use the reason why it's low as the same reason it gets high later on. But they say a lot of it has to do with sluggish demand, which of course is true because generally after the holidays, there's a sluggish demand. Who wants to drive in January and February when it's snowy and crappy? And, are you really going to plan a driving trip to drive hundreds or thousands of miles in the middle of the winter? Probably not. And one expert says this, which just breaks me up because, they're going to gouge us as much as they can. Here's what the expert says. We have a run at a $2.99 national average, but this could create additional volatility in the run-up to spring, where a sharp rise in prices could see up to an 85-cent increase per gallon around mid-February. Any excuse that they have to raise the price, and then, what can you do about it? Nothing, right? Every once in a while, they'll have a Senate investigation on the price of gas. It never goes anywhere. They just come there and they blah, blah, blah at each other. One yells at somebody else, and the other guy, the corporations don't care. They know the Senate can't do anything about it. So they'll just come up with some figures. Well, this is due to the volatility of mosquito netting in Malaysia. Who knows? They'll make up some excuse why they're going to raise it higher, but at least it's good news now. It's lower. It usually is in the winter. It's kind of a seasonal thing. Here we go again about electric cars and faster charging. Everybody keeps talking about hyper fast charging. We're going to make cars, you can charge them up as fast as possible. They're coming out saying, oh, we can get 80% charge in 15 minutes, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Here's the thing. It's all in the future. There are no cars that actually do it yet. And they give the most ridiculous figures, too. They talk about, well, you can go from 10% to 80% and blah, blah. Hey, not 100%. You know why? Because when you get past 80%, charging those batteries is so slow, it's going to take you 45 minutes to an hour. So they give you this horse manure range when they sell the cars. This car can go 250 miles on an electric charge. No, because they're generally only charged to 80%, so that knocks off 20% then. They go down to 10%, so that knocks 30% off. So all you got is 70% of that range, which is a made-up figure anyway. When they test them, we drove it, and oh, look, it went this far. Yeah, and then what happens? You got 5 miles of range left. If you didn't stop at where there's a charger, you're screwed, stuck with a car. You're going to have to tow to some charging place and spend a fortune, right? The main problem comes down to they have lithium-based batteries, and the lithium, it shorts out, it goes on fire, it loses its ability to hold a charge, to give a charge out, right? They're degradable batteries. And if you charge those things too fast, guess what? They degrade even faster. I know that for a fact. The camera that I'm filming you with has a lithium-ion battery in it. And I make sure I charge those things slow because I used to put them in a fast charger and I would get about 30% of the life that I would if I charged them slowly. I have ones that are still 2 or 3 years old and they're still working. But the ones that I fast charged, within a year they all went bad. The whole idea that they're going to have a magic battery they can fast charge, that is a line of baloney. Bad enough, there's no infrastructure for it. There's no electrical generating stations to cover all that if millions of people bought them. But you really can't charge the things fast if you want them to last. And they even admit, well, you charge it up to 80%, then you go. It'd be like, oh, imagine if you have a gasoline car and you go to the gas station, you only fill it up 3/4 of the way, then you stop filling it, right? What is the point? They're just stupid vehicles that don't make any sense. And they're just trying to force people to buy a technology that really is unproven and unwarranted. Well, I can't help but laugh at that. They have pictures of Tesla Cybertrucks getting stuck in the snow. Yes, they're getting stuck in the snow. Here's a supposed electric vehicle, that's got all the fancy drive systems, but they're getting stuck in the snow. Now, I can just about guarantee you what the main problem is, and that is the tires and they have too much power and they spin. What people need to understand, and I keep explaining it to people, and a lot of guys, they don't know, and I explain to them that, I never knew that. I thought four-wheel drive was fine. The main thing that affects you driving in the snow is the type of tread and how much tread you have on your car tires, right? So you could take a four-wheel drive vehicle, regular tires, summer highway tires on it, and you compare that to a front-wheel drive car that has snow tires on the front, you're going to find the one with snow tires is the one that's not going to get stuck because it's the grip that you get from the tires. It doesn't matter what kind of a setup you have. And of course, the electric vehicles have that phenomenal torque. You hit it. Electric motors have instant full torque. So they pull and they spin and they get stuck, right? Like when I was a kid, guys that have Mustangs in Niagara Falls, and they'd be doing donuts all the time when it snowed. They did it for fun. But the stupid things didn't have enough weight in the back. All the motor was in the front that they spin and spin and spin. So guys would have to put like sandbags or salt bags in the trunk, weight it down in the back so at least it would hold itself down better and not just slide around because there's no weight on the tires, so they just spin. Well, in this case, these had the factory tires, which are not set up for driving in the snow. It doesn't matter what kind of a setup you have. If you do not have snow tires and you're driving in the snow, you're going to have problems. It's the tires there that are the main indicators of how you're going to be able to drive when there's actual snow or ice on the road, where you got to get better grip with a heavier duty tread. Now, a lot of people don't understand. They think, I got a four-wheel drive. I don't have to do anything. Yes, you do. You still got to put snow tires in. If you got the modern all-wheel drive system, you'd have to put all four snow tires on that are the same size, and then in the summer, put all four tires that are the same size of regular tires back on. It's an expensive endeavor. Well, people are always worried about foreigners taking over the United States, right? Well, it turns out there's a Chinese billionaire, and he's the second largest landowner in the United States. But before people start freaking out, it reminds me way back when I was younger, and everybody said, the Japanese are taking over, they're going to buy the United States. I thought, did it happen? No, it didn't. Now, this Chinese billionaire made his money on online gaming, doesn't that figure? This guy Chen owns 198,000 acres in the United States. It's Oregon timberland. And if you want to know who's numero uno foreigner that owns land, it's a Canadian. The Irving family of Canada has 1.2 million acres of Maine timberland. So it's timberland, right? Now, I don't understand why people even care because, okay, these guys own land in Oregon and in Maine, right? Maine touches Canada anyway, so what the heck, right? They own all this land. What are they going to do? They're going to take it back to Canada? You can't move land even though it's close, right? And he's certainly not going to move this Oregon land to China. So, where anybody's worried about that stuff, the stuff is here in the United States. It's not going anywhere, right? But all these people are worried, oh, this Chinese guy owns all this land. Whoop-de-doo, he paid money for it, right? So the money came over here. You can't move the land. The land's going to stay where it is, right? It's one thing if they're buying something and they're moving it over. Well, they can't do that. The land is there, right? So I wouldn't worry about the Chinese taking over by buying land. A lot of these people, they see it an investment in the United States as a safe investment. They know in the United States, looking at history, that we never nationalized stuff where we take ownership away from foreigners who bought big property in the United States. No, we're an open market, and that's why everybody in the world invests money in the United States. They know it's safe, and they know it's not going to disappear. Look at Mexico. When they devalued the peso, the Mexicans lost a fortune, and unless you were dumb enough, like one of my friends in Houston was, who put all his money in a Mexican bank because he didn't want to pay federal U.S. taxes, well, guess what? He had no money left. It all went zoop and disappeared. So that's why people invest in the United States. I wouldn't personally worry about it. Well, if you follow me any length of time, I don't like Apple products. I'm not an iPhone fanatic. I have generic. I really like the Google Pixel phones. I used to have Samsung, but I fell out of favor with them. They cost too much. They didn't work that well. They bragged about how great the Samsung photograph was, and it was crap. I tried to use videos. They'd stutter. But the Google Pixel phones, they're phenomenal photography, right? Well, I do have to eat my own words. Now, I got to say, well, this one Apple phone, at least, the iPhone, was built pretty well because if you saw the news the other day where that Alaska flight, the side plug door flew out. Well, it sucked the kid's shirt off and an iPhone. Well, the iPhone landed on the ground and it still works. Now it's 16,000 feet up in the air and it fell down. How could this phone possibly have lasted? Well, obviously they built that one particularly well. They're squarish, so they'll generally start tumbling. And when they tumble, that slows down their terminal speed. So instead of going as fast as, say, a bowling ball that's round that just goes down, that slows it down. And some of it was luck that it landed in this guy's lawn in Vancouver, Washington, right? As a scientist said, if it would have landed in a street or a driveway, forget it, it would have shattered. But it did land in the dirt and the grass, and that slowed it down. But it's still kind of amazing. 16,000 feet tumbling through the air, landing on the ground, it still works. I gotta say, well, they made that one particularly well. Now, I gotta say, I've never had any problem with my pixels breaking because I use these nice cases. But I drop this thing all the time, and I still don't even have any cracks on the glass, so definitely put it in one of these cases. And the iPhone that fell, it was in a case too. I don't know what kind of case it was, but I do have to say it was pretty well built that it could fall 16,000 feet and still work. Mine's landed on the concrete numerous times, but that's generally only when I'm up in a truck or something and maybe it falls down 6 or 8 feet. It's not going 16,000 feet. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.